In a world, like you mentioned, where everyone's advertising online and you could, in the middle of the night at 3:00 in the morning, find a coach, staying at the front of people's minds, getting ahead of all the people that have giant marketing budgets, building a business organically, it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of relationship building. So those are some that come to mind.
Welcome to the J. Wells CFO Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Wells, enrolled agent, and I'm here with a great guest this week. Really looking forward to this conversation. I'm here with Jennifer Henry with Compass Coaching. She's a real estate coach, so we're definitely going to get into what realtors need, how they can be better business people. So I'm really looking forward to it. Jennifer, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got it to where you're at, and what your company, what Compass Coaching does.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. It is a pleasure, and I love being able to speak about what I do. I love my industry. I love the people that I serve. So it's always great when I can add value in that arena. So I'm a real estate agent. I've been in real estate for 16 years. I'm a real estate broker as well. And but about 5-6 years ago, I transitioned out of real estate sales. My husband took over my book of business when I realized that I was supposed to be a real estate trainer coach. And I literally got to teach one class in my brokerage. And as I stood on the stage, I stood there, I looked across all those hungry agents that were looking at me, and I knew right then and there, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that was where we went from there.
Good deal. Good deal. I love that. I love that phrase, supposed to be, because,
Yeah.
You can be doing something for a long time. You can think you're good at it. You can have people telling you're good at it. But if there's something inside you saying this just isn't quite right, I'm still looking for that thing I'm supposed to be doing, then yeah, you gotta keep exploring. I had a similar thing. I was in a field that I really enjoyed and I liked, and people told me I was pretty decent at it, and it just wasn't quite right. And so, I think I found what I'm supposed to be doing. I hope so. We'll see. But no, so good deal. So what exactly, people deal with realtors, right? Most people at some point buy a house, and the realtor finds us a decent house. They find us something that matches what we're looking for, at least pretty close, and they try to get us a good deal on it, and everything seems to go fine. So what is it that realtors need coaching on? What's there? What's lacking there? What are realtors trying to get that they don't already have?
Well, what you need to know first and foremost is that of all the real estate agents that will get licensed, only 87% will actually make it to their second year in business. Wow. And so the numbers are really, really, really depressing when you look at them from that arena. And it's about the agents, the 87% simply aren't equipped. First of all, a lot of them get into the business thinking it's easier than it is. I mean, isn't that kind of what happens in business? And then they get in, they're not equipped and trained to know how to find customers, how to properly close the deals, how to keep deals together because every single one of the deals that you do in real estate has the potential to explode on you at any given moment. So you got to have that experience. But I think the fundamental problem that most agents have is they don't know how to build a business. They don't know what their numbers are. They don't know who to target, and they need help with a lot of mindset struggles that they have around their value and their worth and their boundaries and their time. And so real estate agents, while it looks easy on HGTV, it's not easy. Not easy at all. And they need help. They need help. So if you've seen a really great real estate agent out there and you're seeing their sign all over the place, believe me, they have struggled to get there. They have fought tooth and nail to gain market share, and most likely they have a coach.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what made you decide that, you wanted to get into coaching, and that, you said that one day you knew you were supposed to be doing that, but what made you have that realization?
When I realized I loved it more than selling and I was way better at it, agents were coming to me naturally. So from a coaching perspective, I feel like I've been a coach my whole life. I've always been that person that people come to talk about problems, to brainstorm, and to get ideas and to get inspiration. So I finally just packaged my services and said, hey, I'm good at this. I can help you make more money. I can help you enjoy your life more, which are the two components that I coach to, not just making more money, but enjoying your life more at the same time. And, it was when I started realizing that this was a source of income for me, that I could not only fulfill my spirit and soul doing, but also make money. That was when I realized I needed to go all in with it. And I did start my own business a year ago. Compass Coaching is a year and a month old. And while I do coach pretty much anyone that wants to grow from a life coaching perspective, I do have a primary focus on real estate agents and coaching coaches. So those are kind of my two niches.
Gotcha. Good deal. So how did you actually start this business? So, you decided this is something I want to go into. What was the first step? When did how did you make that transition from just a realtor to now you're coaching realtors?
Well, I had an amazing husband who was a real estate agent, and he saw the potential for me as well. And we just transitioned, took 6 months to transition me out of the business and him all the way in. So I had a person I transitioned to. For those people that don't have that, it's a much more challenging to phase one business out, bring the other one in, and not interrupt your income. But I have an amazing husband who was able to do that. And then it was just a matter of a leap of faith. Just like I tell the agents I coach, there is going to come a point in time where there'll be a leap of faith. It isn't going to just be miraculously you're making the same amount of money you were making before. No, there's a leap, and there are really scary moments where you're not sure you made the right decision. And I've never, ever questioned the decision, even though there have been a lot of risks on my part. I've never questioned it because I'm following my passion.
Sure. Good deal. Yeah. That leap into either from employment to self-employed, or from self-employed that you've been doing for a long time into something a little bit different. It is, like you say, it's a leap of faith. But only, you got to catch yourself when you make that leap, because nobody else can really do it for you. Nobody else is really there for you. I mean, you have help, you have supporters, you have partners and all this, you maybe a spouse or family member or something, but it's still up to you to make it work.
If it is to be, it is up to me. It's my mantra. And I haven't asked my agents to do anything. My clients, I've never asked them to do anything I haven't done or that I don't do on a daily basis. I get out of my own way every single day. I do hard things every day. I face my comfort zone. I jump out of my comfort zone most every day. So whatever struggles my agents are going through, I have absolutely walked that. I have been an agent, single agent. I've been an agent on a team. I've been a broker of an office. I've grown and destroyed teams accidentally twice. And now I'm a coach. So I've kind of walked every step, every different field inside of the industry I've done. So I now have a full understanding of, what all the different roles are.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what's a good day at work look like to you? What does that day look like? How do you know that you can rest easy that night knowing that you've got the job done?
Oh, that's such a great question. And I know it. I mean, you know it too, right? When you end the day good, exhausted. I call it ending your day with a full cup as opposed to an empty cup. So real estate coaching, fills my cup. So a really great coaching day for me means I start at 7:30 and I do 45-minute sessions, probably 3, 4, 5 in a row. I have lunch, and then I spend the afternoon working on my business, or I do some group coaching in the afternoons as well. Usually a good day for me as a coach is about 6 hours of coaching. After that, I'm starting to get on that borderline of the cup emptying as opposed to filling, because I'm getting tired and drained.
Sure.
And then a good hour or two of my day is devoted to personal development. I wake up early every single morning and do quiet time and prayer, meditation, and scripture study, and read books that grow my skill set, and exercise and fill my soul with the things that I need to be the better coach. So there's a big part of my day that involves my own personal development as well. And then I love to finish the day getting home early enough to make dinner and be with my family. So that's a perfect day for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you bring a lot of practical experience into your coaching, but this is the age of influencers. This is the age of social media, making it to where people can sort of jump to the top and start reaching out to a lot of people. do you need that experience? Do you need to build up that experience before, do you have to have that practical experience in a field before you can start helping others? Or, if somebody comes to you and says, I've not been a realtor, I've not been a realtor for very long, but I know I can inspire people. Is that enough? Or would you recommend that they start, just go sell a few houses, then come back and talk to me?
That's a great question. Are you asking about coaching or being a real estate agent?
Asking about being a coach,
Being a coach.
what you're
Okay.
doing now.
That's a great question. No, you don't need to have sold a single home to be a real estate coach. What you need to be is a coach. And in fact, I coach coaches, and real estate experience is not a requirement. There is a specific attitude, lifestyle, and heart that makes a great coach a coach. It really has nothing to do with what you're coaching about. In fact, I like to say, I've heard this and read this in other books, that as long as you are one chapter ahead in the book, you can coach someone. So if you just basically understand the concept of what they should be doing, you're not training them to do that thing. You are holding them accountable to the things they say they want. And that spans across any industry. So to answer your question, no. Does it help, all that experience? 100%. Having walked that, yes, that definitely helps. And I don't think it's required or necessary.
Sure. No, that's interesting. In fact, I saw on Twitter earlier today. In fact, I saw a tweet by someone who is in accounting. He's not a practicing accountant, but he's in accounting, and he asked a poll question of whether an accounting firm should hire a non-accountant advisor, right, to come in and help the firm. And my immediate, I think a lot of the field would say, well, if this person's not an accountant, then what do they know about running an accounting firm? But I look at that as, if this person knows how to run a better business, right, then maybe this accounting firm desperately needs somebody to just come in and not necessarily make them better accountants, but make them better business people. And so I think what you're saying, I think there's a lot to that sometimes when we become professionals, we tend to discount what we could get from people outside of our field, when really that might be exactly the influence we actually need to be better at what we're doing.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I look at being a coach as being the bumper rails on a bowling alley. I'm the bumper rails. You're the ball. My goal is to keep you on your path. That's the job of a coach. Keep you on your path without veering off, keep you focused on the goal ahead. And anybody can do that if you have the heart for that. You don't need the experience. But again, I go back to, as a real estate coach, I do have tools at my disposal that real estate agents can use, and specific training. So I combine it. So I am a coach, consultant, and trainer all within my role, and I
so
love
there's a lot of value added there. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I have tracking tools and online training systems that only real estate agents are going to benefit from. So in that way, it again comes back to the benefit of the experience.
That's interesting, because so in working with the realtors that I have, there's a lot of, just like any field now, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, there's this surge of technology and the technological tools that are making things a lot easier. And I know it used to be not very long ago when I was watching my parents look for houses to buy when I was a kid. And it was this sort of drawn out process of looking through the newspaper and everything. And now you ask a realtor for a house, and, 10, 15 minutes later, you get an email with, 20 listings from the MLS, and it's almost instant. So has the technology made becoming a good realtor easier, or is it something that there's still these skills that technology can't replace or can't automate?
You asked such great questions, and this is really near and dear to my heart. Technology and some of the big technology companies such as Zillow, Realtor.com, some of these big names that are providing instantaneous value to customers, to consumers, they are essentially trying to put the realtor out of business. And if we let it continue going the way that it is, the realtor will become nothing more than a warm door opener, a warm body opening a door. We and my clients and I take a stand. None of the clients that I work with purchase online leads, because they're in fact giving money back to the very entities that want to put them out of business. In fact, I won't take a client that won't hear that rationale, right? And not to mention how expensive they are and how ineffective they really are in the end for building it like a business. And so what I do is I train and work with my agents to grow the most organic, warm, inexpensive type of business, which is relationship business. It's who I am too. So it comes very naturally to me. And in fact, one of my clients told me the other day that she got a sales call from one of the big companies, and she was delighted to say, and I quote her, she said, "No, thank you. My business plan does not depend on your kind of leads." And I was like, golden girl. Like, it was awesome because she used to buy Zillow leads. She used to spend $1,000 a month on Zillow leads. And now she is completely converted her business to a referral-based business that doesn't, that her, in her cost, she's running at 26% expenses in her budget, where she was before up in the 40s, closer to 50% just because of online leads. So we've reduced her cost, increased not only her return, but now she has more fulfillment and joy because she's doing something more in line with what fulfills her. So there's a win-win all around. Some people really enjoy and are good at online leads. I have found in all my years of coaching, there are very few real estate agents that flourish with online leads. Most real estate agents flourish through just being who they are in their worlds and being very visible with who they are and that they're in real estate and being an expert visibly. That's really where an agent flourishes.
Interesting. And I think that carries over to a lot of fields. I know in accounting, there's a lot of talk of automation, right? That the computer can automate your bookkeeping, it can automate your payroll, it can even automate your tax return now, and to the point to where, there's a lot of concern in the accounting community over whether we still need accountants. And so, and how do we continue to justify, our expense, right? That we're charging our clients. And so we're constantly trying to come up with new ways to add value. And it ultimately just comes back to it's not necessarily a new way. It's just going back to the roots. It's going back to, connecting to your clients, helping your clients, talking to your clients, communicating with them, being consistent, not dropping them for months at a time, and these kinds of things. And so, the old is new again, right?
That's
It
right.
seems to be the trajectory of a lot of these fields.
Well, and I think any online presence, which I'm a big advocate of an online presence, a social media presence, and any online presence is enhanced by the personal experience that you have with your agent. You can meet someone on Facebook and follow them, and then meet them in person and be like, yeah, no, that's not my agent. Or you can provide an experience that really enhances that persona and that platform that you could create. So I am an advocate of creating an authentic platform on your social media channels and really providing value there. And then enhancing it with delivering really great service.
Yeah, that's interesting because I remember when I was in college is when Facebook was still limited to the .edu email addresses of certain colleges. And so
Wow.
my college didn't have it yet, and I had friends that went to other universities that did have it. And so there was a while there of a lot of jealousy, right? Because we all had friends that were at different universities that had Facebook accounts, and we didn't yet. And I remember the day on campus when it came when our .edu email address finally became eligible for Facebook, and going to the library and seeing the computer lab just full, right? Because everybody was trying to sign up and add all their friends from all the other colleges and that kind of thing. And it was this very there was an intimacy about it. There was this sort of unspoken rule that you had to know somebody in person and them tell you to add you on Facebook until you would actually send that
Yeah.
invitation. And then after a while, after I got out of college and stuff, I started using it less and less, and eventually got out of it. But then just recently, over the last 6 months or so, I've tried to jump back into it because there are a lot of connections, a lot of networking groups that I'm in that have pages, that have groups going on in Facebook, and I've jumped back in, and it's a very different ball game than the one I remember.
Oh, it's so
It's
different.
casting a net far and wide and adding anybody that it suggests to you, and just hoping they actually reply to it, and you 9 times out of 10 they do. And when I look at the realtors that I'm following on there, it's a lot of listings. It's a lot of here's what I'm selling. There, I've noticed some are starting to do some video walkthroughs of some of the houses that they got listed and that kind of stuff. Are realtors doing a good job on social media? Is there more that they should be doing? And
You
if
know,
so,
I
what?
I think, like anything, we can get caught in the trap of self-promotion. And there's nothing wrong with that. You look at my page, you're going to see, especially lately with some new things I'm launching, a lot of self-promotion. And there's also a whole component of just add value. Just add value. Give away so much value that people almost feel bad that they're taking from you without spending any money on you. Give information, give inspiration, just add value. That's pretty much it, and that's the key. So I think that's something agents could do a lot better job at, is
Gotcha.
adding value, as opposed to just, hey, here's my new listing. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
That's it.
Gotcha.
That's the best thing.
So as a consumer, right, as somebody that, is going to look for a house to buy, and then I buy it and I don't know, plan to stay in it for a while. I mean, usually people say, if you plan to sell within 5 years, you're probably going to lose money on it. So plan for at least that long and this kind of stuff. And everybody has these different estimates, but it's not every day, right? It's not, or even every year really, that I'm talking to a real estate agent. So how do I, as a consumer, think about interacting with a real estate agent? Because, and how is that real estate agent going to respond back to me if they're getting their coaching from you? So, just say I'm an interested consumer. I like to stay up on what's going on in the real estate market. I hear headlines about interest rates going up and down, and these parts of the countries are hot and these parts aren't, and these kinds of things. And I'd like to stay informed, but I don't want to bother a busy real estate agent, right? So what kind of relationship should I try to build with an agent, and what kind of response should I expect back?
Well, if an agent's doing their job, you shouldn't have to ask that question. A real estate agent that's doing their job should be in relationship with you. They should be pursuing that with you. And, relationships for me and the clients that I'm working with right now, they're doing client parties 2 or 3 times a year. So you should be getting invitations to parties. I'm actually Saturday going to one of my top agents' client party. On the 24th or 26th of October, I'm going to another one that they've invited me to. I have 2 clients doing big parties. And today I had a whole conversation with another client doing a movie theater night. So parties and events, that's really what, you should be hearing from your agent about. You should know what interest rates are. You should understand changes in the market and how they impact your home's value. And it should make you want to give them names of referrals of your friends, family, and so forth. So that should be an automatic kind of overflow of the relationship you've created. So to answer that, I would say a good agent will build that with you.
That's really interesting, because I think it's easy to think of that relationship as, we made it to the day of closing, we got all the paperwork signed, we handed the keys over, and we're done, right? You go do that with somebody else now, right? And we're going to move into our house and we're taken care of. But this is interesting. You're talking about this should be an ongoing relationship. I should still, even though this person knows I'm not going to be interested in buying another home, fairly soon, right? There should still be a maintenance of that relationship.
Well, you'll meet people that will be moving in your, you may not. I mean, the average is every 7 years, a person will change their home. And you meet people, you'll know people, you have friends that get divorced, friends that have babies, friends that have parents moving to town, And so it's really a matter of making sure they stay top of mind in your life.
Interesting. Yeah. Because I come from a field where at least once a year my clients have to deal with me, because
that's true.
They need their taxes done, right?
Right.
And the business clients more often, because there's more regular filings and that kind of stuff. But I know I've got to touch base with them at least once a year. But it's interesting thinking about real estate, because do you build a CRM if you're a realtor, right? Because like you said, on average you might not hear from those people again for 7 years, but
right.
It's not so much that individual, it's that individual's network. And now
That's
you
right.
want to draw in those people as well.
Well, I have my past clients from years ago reaching out to me still to this day, asking if I have a plumber's name or who I recommend for new flooring in their home, or asking, hey, what do you think my home is worth now? So remaining a resource is really important too, that when the past customer thinks of a real estate need, that they think of you to answer it for them, even if it's not, hey, will you come list my house?
That's really interesting because it's more than just getting into the house. Now you're maintaining the house, right? And so
Absolutely.
you work with that realtor to keep that house maintained, even if you're, because that realtor knows all of these tradespeople that you're talking about, right? Yeah.
That's right. We have the good agent will have those relationships built with CPAs, accountants, plumbers, painters, home inspectors. And so we have usually a vendor list of people that we know, like, and trust, and we've done a lot of business with, and we can recommend.
Interesting. So let's switch up the tone just a little bit here, because it's easy to paint this rosy picture of self-employment and running your own business. What are some of the challenges that you faced in the last 13 months running this new business? What's a big challenge or two that you faced and had to figure out a way to overcome, or maybe you're still working on a way to overcome?
Well, the same thing I coach my agents around, which is fear of failure. That is something predominant amongst all human beings. I haven't met yet one that didn't have some fear of failure. It's really what you do with that fear that determines, what happens. And so I face that. There have been many times in the last 13 months I've wanted to launch something, but there's a fear of failure that's caused me to hold back from it. I'm now kind of operating in a new mindset of get to failure faster, because the sooner I fail, the sooner I can figure out how to redo it and do it better. So the sooner I can get there, let's just get there, right? So that's kind of my new motto, is get to failure faster. And the other challenge that I have personally is that it's very lonely sometimes, and I get really caught with tunnel vision into my world and my plans and my dreams, and sometimes I forget to reach out and get help, and then all of a sudden I feel alone, really alone. And so that's when I know I need to go do some masterminds, take a class, visit with some other coaches so that I can keep myself refreshed. But it can be lonely, especially when all you're doing all day long is pouring yourself out for others, and it can get, lonely. So those are a couple big challenges. And then another one that I think is worth mentioning is that in a world, like you mentioned, where everyone's advertising online, and you could, in the middle of the night at 3:00 in the morning, find a coach, staying at the front of people's minds, getting ahead of all the people that have giant marketing budgets, building a business organically, it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of relationship building. So those are some that come to mind.
Absolutely. No, that's good, because the social media aspect of it, while it's a relatively easy way, and cheap way, I mean, you can do the advertising, you can do that expensive stuff, or you can just get on there, like you said, organically, just personally. But you have to be consistent with that, right? You have to show up every day for that. You have to, post another video, add another story, write up another paragraph, and it wears on you after a while.
Well, and especially if you're not getting results right away. You've got to
Right.
have grit. I call that just having grit. It's saying I'm sticking with this no matter what, whether I get results about this today or not. I got to stick with it and do it again tomorrow. It can be very
and
challenging.
and I see a lot of these social media outlets have these algorithms and these formulas that maybe nobody saw it today, but it might pop up into somebody's feed tomorrow, and
Right.
they needed to see it tomorrow but not today, and so you
Right.
actually lucked out, right? And so you can't just put a post out there, wait 5 minutes, and then say, well, it failed. Yeah, you've got to
No,
wait it, and it's a long game.
it is.
Again, coming from my field, where really our year, about 90% of our year happens in a 10-week span from February to middle of April. And so you spend the other 40 weeks of the year just reaching out, reminding your clients, hey, if you know anybody else who could use an accountant, who wants to start a bit, all these kinds of things. And you're constantly just putting it out there until you get to the end of the year, and you're just hoping that in the next, month or two, that you hear back from a lot of these people, and you don't know. You're pretty sure about your returning clients, but at least most of them, but it's still just kind of, and so there's always this fear of maybe this is the year it's not going to work, right? Maybe this is but you still have to, go
What
through with it.
what choice do you have? I mean, you still got to go through with it, and it always works out. I say do the things you need to do consistently and trust the system. Just trust the system. And I also tell my agents, your income, the regularity of your income is in direct proportion to the regularity of your activities. So if you want a consistent paycheck, have the same consistent activities. You do those over and over and over again and trust the system, you will have over and over and over again income that becomes consistent. Gets out of what I call the real estate roller coaster of, I have a closing, I don't have anything again for 6 months. That's just this roller coaster that they get stuck in. And it's a miserable place to be. And so if we can get agents getting a consistent income, paying, being able to pay themselves a check every month, then they get that sense of security, and they can act more confidently in the decisions that they make.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just keep yourself in that right mindset. Yeah.
Right.
And just keep
Keep
at
those
it.
activities. Keep the activities the same. Don't stop them. In fact, when I create a business plan with my clients, I ask them to commit to any one activity they're going to commit to. And we vet the activity. We don't just pick one out of the air. We really poke holes in it and make sure it's the right thing for them. And then I ask them to commit for 90 days. No shiny objects, no chasing squirrels, 90 days. We do not decide whether we're going to keep doing it or not for 90 days. At the end of 90 days, we can talk about it. If you're hating it, we can quit, but 90 days.
Interesting. Now, so we started off saying that, realtors, they need some help. They need some help in terms of thinking about how to run a business, how to stay in business, these kinds of things. Aren't they getting trained for that? They're licensed, they're part of some brokerage or a firm. Where is the training, and why, in your opinion, is it falling short, and why do realtors need you?
Well, I don't know if you've ever tried to get your real estate license or know someone that has. The entry point for getting a real estate license is pretty low. I mean, you need to be able to take a really hard test. One test, a 1-week class, and take a test. That's it. Now, when you go to real estate school, all they teach you is how not to get sued or how to really mess up. They don't really teach you how to sell real estate. You never touch a contract in a real estate class. You never learn how to lead generate. Really, you're just learning what not to do, basically. So when you join a brokerage, you haven't learned anything. It's up to the broker to provide that training for you. Now, some of the real estate boards will have training, and people will, go to that training. But the best training you can get is just getting out there and getting your jersey dirty and just do it. But a lot of people are too afraid because they haven't had training. So to answer your question more specifically, a broker, I have found in my experience that brokers are oftentimes really great real estate agents, and they're really great business people, but they're not great trainers or coaches, or they don't have a passion, or frankly, they don't have time for it. They're running a business, and half the time they have their own real estate business they're running. And so they don't really have the time to devote to a baby agent's, every whim and question and desire and need. And so that agent gets kind of left to, to their own. And that's traditionally where the problems start. Different brokerages offer different things, and agents ultimately can find the training they want, but oftentimes it's not inside their brokerage, unfortunately.
Interesting. Yeah.
And brokers are not coaches. Let me add that too. Brokers are not mentors. Oftentimes the broker will say, and this is another one of those things I've seen happen. A broker will make a promise of mentorship, and they will mentor you until they have their own big deal cooking. And then they have to put their attention on that. It's their mortgage payment, it's their car payment. So it is the nature of the beast, and agents just need to know that going in.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, for sure. I can relate, in accounting, the test that you take to become an enrolled agent like I am, or even a CPA, if you're wanting to do tax accounting like I do, you can take these tests, you can study for them and pass them and do really well passing them, and never once have actually prepared somebody's tax return and filed it. And so it's entirely possible to know, like you said, the technicalities, the rules, the regulations, but still not know how to actually make the end product that people are coming to you and they need you to do. You can know the technicalities of the work without actually knowing how to do the work. And so I think this is similar. This is a problem across a lot of professions. And so then how do you actually learn how to do the work? Well, you hope you got in with somebody that is going to take the time and have the interest in training you well how to do it. The problem is a lot of times they're good at what they do, and that's how they got to where they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're good at helping other people figure out how to do it.
Well, and remember we talked about back in a few minutes ago that just because you like to help other people doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it. You know, coaching, training, mentoring, there's a techniques for all of them. And, you know, you've got to understand and know what it is you're guiding people through. And, you know, you have to have a heart for it. So even if you're good at it, you may not have a heart for it. You may not like the idea of walking someone through a process. That may be completely, you know, against your joy zone, so to speak. It lights me up every day, all day long. I'd rather walk someone through it than do it myself all day long, but you know, not everyone does, and that's okay. I personally don't want to sell real estate anymore. It doesn't excite me to go on a listing appointment anymore. I would if I had to, but it's not something that I find that it's interesting to me. So therefore I found, you know, my zone. And again, it's nothing wrong about brokers. I am a broker, but I can tell you that they're focused on their business, growing it. Agents are secondary typically to that. And then the agents are the ones that suffer as a result.
Interesting. So if you're a new agent out there, or you've been an agent for a little while, but you feel like you need a little help, then find you a good coach, find you a good mentor, and figure out the gap between those technicalities and actually building a good business, building a solid business.
That's right. And, you know, don't be hung up on the fact that you don't know everything, and get someone that can look over your contract before you write it, or write it, have someone, you know, proof it for you. And it's not, you don't need to know everything to take action. You just need to have the confidence and know where you can get answers when you need them. That's the key. Because a lot of agents do get, on the flip side, get stuck in training, never take action. They become professional, you know, real estate students, and never sell a house. I know a lot of people, that's kind of like a safety zone for them. Just get stuck in a class and, you know, you're working, you know. So
right.
That's the other thing to be really cautious about. Action still trumps all of that in the real estate business.
Awesome. Well, I think you know, want to be respectful of your time, so I think we'll leave it at that. I think that's a great place to stop. If listeners want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Well, you can email me, Jennifer@mycompasscoaching.com. You can text me 904-708-1839, or you can find me on Facebook at Compass Coaching.
Good deal. Awesome. And we'll have links to all that in the show notes in the description, so that people can get to that easily. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. This has been really helpful. I think, you know, we're definitely going to push this out to all the realtor hashtags and networks across social media. And hopefully, you know, some of them that are out there scratching their head, wondering how they got to this point, and they're working so hard, but they just aren't seeing the results yet. Hopefully, you know, this can point them in the right direction so that they get that little boost that they need.
Perfect. I would love to help. It's my passion. Good. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Awesome. No problem. Thank you for being here. I am Jeremy Wells. This has been the Jay Wells CFO Show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, check the show notes in the description for links to things that we've discussed in this episode. You can find me at Jay Wells CFO across most of the social media outlets, especially Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Again, thanks, Jennifer, so much. And thank you, listeners, and have a good one.